Okay guys, welcome back to, we're at McLaren HQ here. This is Team Force India cross-collaborating with McLaren HQ. And today, this video is for the Porsche boys really, because we're talking air intake systems and we've been ordering bits and like getting sort of like delving into air intake systems. So before I go over to Danny, I'll go over to Danny in a second. Before I do, the plans for mine is to take a stock throttle body, which I've stripped right down. I've taken all the bits off it and the axle and the flap out. And the plan is to bore this 74mm one to 76.4, which is I think what you can get away with. And most of that boring you can kind of see from the camera footage will be right in the middle where there's these lips. There's a lip there going one way and a lip going the other way on the top. And that's the little bit I'm concerned about. And I'm concerned about what happens when you bore away in that. And I think you need to leave a bit of lip meat, if you like. I'm a little bit concerned about the screws that hold the flap in place as well. They're not peened. Someone was saying about it. They're not peened. They were thread locked from factory. So they came at just unscrewed straight out. So I'll use the same screws and thread lock them. We'll talk about that a little bit more. This is my air intake system that I'm going to use. This is an Evolution 5, and the reason I want to use this rather than like a K&N or any other induction kind of thing, or even the stock intake, is because I like the airflow. So it's going to feed into the stock airflow, so almost like it gets air rammed into that pipe, which is out of the engine bay, if you like. So it's not just pulling in hot engine air. Goes into this compartment here, which has a top seal on it, and that seals up as you close the boot lid. And then that filter will obviously be in a different position with that hole there, and then it goes to a pipe and into your intake. So it's quite a long intake system, but it should avoid getting hot engine air in there because it's going to be predominantly air fed, which should be an improvement. So I'm looking forward to this. That cone that came with it is a second hand. It was oiled up. So I've cleaned it all out. This won't be going into the car for a while, so I'll stick this all in the airing cupboard. So that cone is pretty clean. I might just put a tiny bit of oil in there. I was chatting to Dan about it, just to avoid dust getting through. But I don't want a really heavily oiled cone because I don't like the idea of that. And I believe it should be dry with this intake system, but I don't know. I don't think it's too important. Now, yes, over to Dan.
You didn't mention what caused all this fap and why what we discovered when messing around with your resonance flap and learning about it.
Oh, but that will take ages.
But the reason why John's going down this road is because we found a bottleneck. There's a bottleneck.
It's a known bottleneck, isn't it?
Yeah, true. It is a known bottleneck. There's a bottleneck. So the Porsche air intake is intaking plenty of air. And what the manifolds can take that goes into the engine is bottlenecked by the middle of the throttle body. The outer part of the throttle body and the back part, as we found out, is bigger than the middle. And it's the middle that's causing a bottleneck. A
little bit, yeah. So there has to be a bottleneck somewhere, doesn't there? And it may well be the throttle body. After the throttle body, the bottleneck, I think,
is the heads.
Well, would probably be the possibly. I don't know. You'd have to
I already know. I've already done the measurements.
But you'd have to know what each
what the
airflow is into each cylinder.
I've just
that could be
the
next bottleneck. That if you increase the air going through each of these by porting these out and using bigger manifolds, you might be able to improve air. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm not messing around with this. So Dan is going to be messing around with this. We'll talk about what Dan's doing different to me. But this gets complicated when you start doing this.
Yeah, mine's the next level.
Yeah, but let's talk about yours.
So yours is kind of like an upgrade, a road upgrade.
Yeah, a little tiny thing.
And the reason why we chose that Evolution thing is because, like what you said, it's got that stock element of how it intakes air, but it also has double back whammy because it's got a cone filter and it's got an additional hole. In theory, which it has to the right hand side. So your induction kit actually would work on a GT car or a non-GT car because our car's intake from the left, if you're looking at the engine.
I can't remember if it's a
GT's intake from the right.
Yeah.
Your car can intake from both.
Yes.
So you now have the maximum amount of possible air intake with out the heat soak because you still have a protective.
Yeah, I think that's more
box.
important. I think the heat
Yeah,
soak's
that's
more
more
important. You mentioned
yeah.
sucking in hot air.
So you got a double whammy with that box, and we realised that when we saw Nigel's car, and we realised what Nigel had done, and then you looked into these boxes, and there just happened to be one on eBay, and after a few clicks and messages, John's got it at his house.
Force India jumped in before Dan realised. What? So we know what my intake is. Essentially stock intake plenums and stuff with a bored out throttle body and a different
and for a road car,
intake.
that's probably the right way, isn't it?
I think so, without going crazy, because I'd have to drop the engine to do the
Because
the
A, you're not
porting.
dropping the engine. B, you're not messing with idle controls,
Throttle position
your throttle
sensor.
position sensor, MAF sensors, resonators. You're not messing with any of that. So what all you're trying to do
Tiny bit extra air.
is probably increase what, 4% airflow?
No,
I think
it's 2.4 millimeters extra on 74.
so. Yeah, about
So
3%,
as a percentage, maybe about
3.5%.
3%. But I'm clawing horsepower here. So
Yes.
that
It's still a gain, isn't it?
If I can get an extra 3% horsepower, up at 290. Maybe I could gain 9 horsepower.
Well, we're talking about if you can get 3% better airflow and match that with 3% better fuel, you'll probably find that will multiply to something like 12 or 15 horsepower.
Without disturbing the Porsche resonance system, because that will lose you that power in the mid-range.
And without disturbing any of the way the car runs as a factory car driving to work and back every morning.
It will be custom mapped to my system later on. And I'll go back to a 200 cell exhaust system, which is being done this weekend. Now let's go up to Dan's. So Dan, what airbox are you using first?
So what I'm doing is, because my car is predominantly just a track car, it's not predominantly, it's just a track car.
Yeah.
There's no point me worrying about anything you just said. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is...
You don't care about broken resonators?
No. All I care about is what the race cars do, what motorsport does. So all I'm interested in is, what are the Cup cars running? How are they running it? Now, I know the Cup cars have a 3.6 Mexico bottom end, which will be port polished, machined to death, the right cams. But these are 450 horsepower cars. I'm not looking for that. I want to I want to get a 3.4 bottom end. A 3.4 bottom end that's relatively stock or completely stock, which I have. But I want to do everything else that what they've done. So what I want to do is a complete intake system off of a Cup car.
So just a cone, basically, going straight into the throttle body?
Yeah, and a cone into the throttle body will not work unless you have everything else in mind.
You case it off and then put an air feed in
there.
there.
There is a kit available called a Manti kit. It's available for a GT3. It's €11,000.
Yen.
It's not just a cone.
Even the McLaren budget can't stretch that far.
Let me get up. It's not just, excuse my back and that, I'm still a bit achy and creaky. Right. So, it's not just...
You can see it's a lot better though.
Better than I was. It's not just that.
No.
It is that, but it's not just that. Because if you just do that, your car's going to run like a sack of shit.
Especially no flap in that throttle body.
It's going to absorb loads of heat soak. It's just going to be a stupid idea. The Manti system does that. It removes the MAF.
Does it remove the MAF?
Yeah, you delete the MAF.
Are you sure?
Yeah, on the Manti one it does with a direct cone. Because the Manti one comes with a map.
So you can change the stock parameters if you did that?
The Manti one comes with a pre-programmed map that you put on your car, and it maps out the...
So you've got to hope your airflow matches what they've...
And of course the Manti one is for the big old bad boy, which is that GT3.
So if you're doing a Manti build,
so if you've got
you need
GT3,
to spec it according to their specification.
Yeah, it's called a performance pack. So the Manti one has that.
How that map works on a normal car.
MAF has no... well, actually it does have the throttle position sensor. Ignore this one at the moment.
You've got a throttle position sensor.
It has a complete shrouded boot lining protector that comes in carbon fibre. It goes inside the boot, the aero taco, so as it comes down, it shrouds that completely.
You get your hands on one of those.
Hot air can penetrate.
You could copy that. I mean, be inspired by that.
The air is forced in more because it has a air intake. So it has a scoop on the top of the boot lid to get more air through the boot lid. It heat protects there. It has a map to accept this and to put in more fuel. And it comes with an exhaust system.
So you're going to make something similar?
It comes with its own exhaust system, John. Its own headers and its own exhaust system. That's why it's £11,000.
Oh, but those cars, what are those cars? 3.4?
3.6 Mex car.
Oh, okay, so it's all different
So,
anyway. It's a completely different engine.
I can't afford £11,000 mount-tie system, and it wouldn't work with my car anyway.
11p paper mache system.
The Cup cars use GT3 bodies.
Yeah.
But the Cup cars modify these bodies and bore them out, which is what this has been done. So this is a Cup car throttle body.
Has that been modified?
So we believe it's been modified. It's certainly been polished out. It's had some other alterations done to it.
The idle control valve's been blanked off.
Idle control valve's been blanked off. That return there has been blanked off as well. They've actually even added an extra additional flap for internal revving, so that when the mechanics are working on the back of the car.
You can stall without no idle control valve.
Maybe they programmed something else in. We don't actually know.
Maybe they've machined it through, so there's some airflow going through.
I mean, something mounted to that, so we've got all this to learn.
You need to take that off and have a look.
So I'm going to use the Cup car throttle body intake, which has its own plenum.
Yeah.
Because it's a bigger system. So this is probably a bit overkill on a 3.4, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to bolt that.
It's not massively different to a stock throttle body, that.
Yeah, but it's the plenum as well. So let me get me walking.
Yeah, but the plenum's not a choke point.
If we go over there...
The stock plenum is 77 mil. Have you got a stock plenum
The
somewhere?
stock plenum is 70... Yeah, it's on that black system. So the stock plenum is 77.
Yeah, so
and
that
our choke point is
that's 77. I need to clean my one.
Yeah, it's 77, but look how much bigger this is.
That's 77. You measured that though.
No, it's 80. This is 80 at the front.
Yeah.
81 at the back.
Oh, in there.
Yeah, 81.
Okay, so
and then
bigger.
look at the bore there versus that.
But that doesn't matter though, does it? Because it splits the airflow two ways, so that's no bottleneck.
But the reality is, it's generally more air intake. Now, I'm not going to try and mount that to that, because this plastic system is what's standard for a 3.6, whether it's a 996.1, 996.2 or 997.1 3.6 standard Carrera.
Without the resonator though.
With the resonator.
No, I think the Space Carrera doesn't have resonator.
Really?
Someone
That's interesting. I'm not sure. I would imagine it would be exactly the same system.
You'd think it would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So I looked again at the Cup cars, and a lot of them have their own custom manifold systems. Porsche 996 had something called X51, which is an aluminium, rather than plastic, is a bigger, taller aluminium spider.
For more airflow.
For more airflow.
With an increased cam.
But with an increased cam and probably ported and polished heads, etc. So
Porsche have messed around with this.
Yeah, Porsche have messed around. It does seem that these cars are almost restricted by the systems they have.
Well, they wouldn't have played around with the cams and the air intake on the X51. 997
3.8 has its own unique throttle intake system. It has a built-in, it has a similar system to that like the GT cars, but it has
fly-by-wire then.
It has aluminium.
These are just upgrades.
Yes, it has
I haven't
this.
seen these before. Jesus.
It has
Let's
this.
have a look at those.
So it has like a GT.
Jesus, that's thin.
Yeah.
So it's quite. So is that aluminium?
I don't know what it is. I think it's some sort of cast.
Yeah, it is.
It's quite light. It has these. So basically, it's got a bigger resonator chamber, much bigger than this one, so it can physically hold more air. These are only very slightly, but they are slightly wider than those. They're no taller than those.
Yeah.
But they are 1.5 mil wider.
Hold it down so I can camera above them to see the size. So if you
They're 1.5 mil wider, so they look almost identical.
Oh, these are the gas. These are the inlet. These are the manifolds. So they've got plastic manifolds.
We have an aluminium manifold, ta-da, which bolts on the end of ours.
So what I want to compare.
So we bolt that, and then it goes into our head. Yes.
That's wider. Yeah.
The
Hold
Porsche.
on. Hold on.
So it's wider. You can see the end result is wider because we're more restricted at that end. Now, the reason we're more restricted at that end, John, at that end.
Hold on, we got that.
John, no, listen.
Yeah.
The reason why we're more restricted at the end, that's right, that's the end that goes into there, because look at the injectors.
Is there a gasket on that?
Right. No, yeah, just a bit like an exhaust manifold gasket.
Oh, like a thin bit of metal.
See, that's where our injectors go in. This one has the injectors going in there at the bottom. So they don't have an aluminium extra piece. So this is taller. It's taller, it's one piece.
Dan, you can see.
And they've done that in plastic.
You can see exactly where you're going to cut off from here.
Yes. So that I'm going to hack this up and make this fit to that. Then I'm going to bore this to get a bigger dimension all the way through here that matches something similar to what's inside there.
Do they line up?
Yeah, it does line up. And then my other bottleneck. Remember what I just said to you about another bottleneck?
It's going to fall at the first hurdle.
This is the other bottleneck, John. They do line up.
So they're all centred.
That actually looks like it's centred to kind of fit on this engine.
So they know what they're doing, don't they?
Give or take, it would actually fit on that engine if you re-screwed holes and stuff like that. So it's all lined up and centred to match. It won't because it's not designed.
You're not going to use that intake.
No, I'm not going to use that bracket, but you can see that it would line up. But those,
just put it on there again, Dan.
Put it on where?
Put it on those cylinders. We'll get it exactly where you think it should be. Left, you're right.
You'd have to go to where the injector points are, really.
So if you centre that other one, I can see the centre point. Go that way a bit, and right a bit. Yeah, roughly.
There you go. So it's just fitted on.
Yeah.
Gone down the hole. The seals are on.
Well, not quite.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. You can get the idea. It would fit, but it won't work with it because the bores are different at the moment.
Yeah. So you'll have a.
So I'm going to hack this.
You'll have a bottleneck there then if you use that.
Yes, that's what I do. Yeah. So there's a bottleneck here, the bottom of there. There's a bottleneck there at the head. So the idea is to make this, because I need this, because this holds my injectors, my fuel rail, everything. But I need to bore this out. I need to chop this up and use this to weld onto there.
Aluminium welding.
Aluminium welding. So I create a one-off X51 that fits my engine. That's very similar to Porsche's X51.
I give you 50. You're not sorry. I give you 50 rupees.
That's my idea. But actually,
60 rupees. I give
but
you.
Again, it's about finding out what material.
If it works,
it is.
I give you 60 rupees.
I might need to. It might not work. I might have to get a GT3 one. So I also want to enlarge here. I want to basically enlarge that. In fact, I'm thinking that's not aluminium. You know, I think that's sprayed with an aluminium.
If it was plastic.
I think it might be plastic, which means it won't fucking work.
It doesn't sound like aluminium.
Yeah, unless I make it fit on here as it is. But
it is. I think it is.
I think there's parts of it that are ali and parts of it that are not. The GT3 ones are aluminium.
That'd be cheeky because they've sprayed it all the same. No, that's.
I think it might be plastic.
I don't know.
I think it might be.
The tap test makes it feel like plastic, and it looks like you scratch all that shit.
In which case, it might be better off to buy a GT3 one and do the same thing, because the GT3 one is alloy.
It's sprayed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sprayed to look like aluminium,
plastic.
but I think it's plastic. So it's not going to work, my idea.
That's fucking plastic.
Unless I mount it onto the engine, but then I can't because the injectors won't line up.
That's plastic.
I don't think the injectors will line up. So I don't think I can make this fit. No. Well, they kind of could line up, but I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Look at the tips down here.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look, it does go in.
It's plastic.
John, it does kind of want to fit.
Yeah, but it's going to be too big, isn't it?
Well, I can port and polish the head to fit. Look, it does fit. Shit, it fits. The bolts don't line up with the holes to fit it.
Yeah, but you've got to hope your fuel rails will mount.
Fuel rail looks about the same position. Injectors are the same position.
Is the fuel rail mountings the same?
Yeah, same position. Look, 996, 997 have the same fuel rail. It fits. That's on there. So but it's not mounted on there. Look at the bolt holes.
But engineering something in plastic would be easy.
Yes. I could engineer a clamp to go over there, couldn't I?
Oh, that's attached to that, isn't it?
Yeah. I could engineer a clamp to go to a bracket to go there to make
sure
that
you haven't got the wrong way around.
No, because look at the injectors. Look at the injectors. The holes line up with my holes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, where's the other intakes half? Where's the other spider?
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, you could try that. But look, that fits on, John.
Yeah, but where's the other one? Where's the other half?
So one idea is out the window and a new idea is coming.
Well, it would be easier to re-engineer that plastic manifold.
Yeah, without welding aluminium. I can't believe
you can almost just drill it.
just make it mount.
Drill it. Or just like, you could...
So a 997 plastic intake, like an X51, but not X51 at all, because X51's alloy.
That needs to...
But then am I defeating the object? Because don't I want this to be aluminium?
Hold on, are they the same injector sizes?
Yeah, 996, 997. Well, this is 3.8, so
Have you got an injector kicking
No,
around?
but I can put 3.8 injectors in this then, couldn't I? Because they would fit perfectly in there.
You're going to be...
But I'm going to be changing the BMW ones anyway.
Be blowing your engine up.
I'm changing the BMW ones anyway, like Nigel. So.
Yeah, but he needs to do that because he's got increased capacity.
I think the injectors will restrict me. If I'm gaining air and I gain exit exhaust,
You're guessing.
I need to gain fuel.
You're guessing.
I am guessing, but I'm playing the mindset of naturally aspirated. It's air, spark, fuel.
So now he's going to change
Spark
the
is
intake.
ECU.
He's got more air coming in. He's going to start drilling around with that, and then he's going to put new injectors in it.
So the bottom line is, I'm going to
He's going to blow it up.
I'm going to make a custom Spider, a custom complete manifold, which is a bigger circumference, a bigger diameter than the standard 996 one. I'm going to have a bigger intake than the 996 one. I'm going to have a direct cone that's shrouded.
Yes.
So I'm doing everything like the cup cars are doing. The only difference is the cup cars, these are aluminium.
Those are plastic.
The race guys are not using plastic.
They're fake alley.
They're fake alley.
They are, and they've been sprayed to look like
They've actually got the texture of alley as well.
So you look at that thing, Porsche have really upped their game when they've gone to this.
They're fucking put plastic
sprayed.
ones. So the advantage though still,
He thought that was aluminium.
I thought it was aluminium, but the advantage still, John, is that it is bigger than that, as in the chambers.
Where's the other half? Here it is.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, try the other half on there, see if that makes a difference. I can't believe how well that sits on there.
It's not going to make any difference. No.
No, the bolt holes are the same.
These look like identical parts.
Yeah, they are left to right, right to left.
And you can't rotate the brackets because you need the injectors.
It has to go one way, which actually, funny enough, my way is the wrong way, your way is the right way. I can tell that by the angle of the parts.
Well, somewhere around here you've got you haven't got to worry about exhaust mounting brackets either, because they come onto here, don't they? I think these are exhaust mounting brackets.
Yes. No, I think I had it the right way. Interesting, isn't it?
Well, it might be an easier job, but I don't think you can, whatever you do, I don't think you can repurpose that manifold. Because it's
what manifold?
That manifold there. Well, it's not a manifold, is it? Is it joined to that?
It's joined in. It's one piece.
So I don't think that will interface, no matter what you do with that, unless you start.
It's already interfacing.
No, but you've got.
You're on about the bolt holes.
Yeah. So you're never going to be able to bolt it in.
No, so you've got to work a way out to do that. Or I get the Porsche. I get an aluminium one. I get a GT3 one, an aluminium one.
Universal adapter.
I get look, so it does sit on there. So I either make something that then makes that bolt to clamp that down there.
I can try and move
right.
it.
You've got one there, so potentially you could look. There's a block there. You could drill that to put a thread into that one. So that's them two. You'd have to do the same that one. Yeah, don't drill too far. And then this one here, you'd actually be better off to make a little bit extra there and use the original bolt holes.
Now, viewers, while he's still talking, now you know why I'm not buggering around with any of this.
Listen,
the chances of this going wrong, my chances of anything going wrong are I might get a bolt come out of my throttle body and go into the engine and blow it up, but that's small and I can get my head around that. The amount of things that could go wrong with what he's doing is like vast compared to what I'm doing.
This is what motorsport people do. They fuck about until they find out.
Yeah, they do. They do. So yeah, it's
good
fun.
The idea is I want to make a one-off cup car intake system for a 3.4, which is not something that's been done because most people do it to
probably
an
done all
engine.
this. They come up with the X51 system at some point. So they looked at the X51 looks to me like how can we juice even more power out of this block without upgrading the cylinder sizes, without relining it and all that. And they came up with an intake and cam upgrade system that gives you another 20 horsepower.
I think, yes.
And basically what Dan is trying to do is achieve the same without updating the cams. And I'm just thinking, there would have been a reason that after Porsche messed around with the intake system, they did the cams as well on the X51, and that is that the design of this. There isn't much to get juice out of it in terms of that.
But then we say
flow.
that, and the evidence tells us otherwise. We have three people. So we have 3 people.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That we know with 3.7.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all Hartech built 3.7.
And we know someone with a stock 3.4 that's
Yeah.
had intake modifications that's had 323.
Yes, horsepower.
And even if that 323, like we said before, is high, it's optimistic because it's the rolling road variants. Even if it was 310, it would be impressive.
Yeah. And we know 3 people with 3.7s in our group alone that have 3 completely different horsepowers.
So really,
one is 307, which is really low for a 3.7. The other one is 328, which is kind of average. And the other one has 356.
Yes, but with injector upgrades.
With injector upgrades, but he also has a cup car throttle body.
Yes.
And he has your box.
Yes.
So again, it's all, and it's mapped.
Yes.
And it's got no power steering, no air conditioning. So they're all mods that I want to copy.
We should just buy that car.
Would be easier. But I basically want to just
It's
create
the white one.
a cup car intake system for a 3.4. I want to do the best I can do on exhaust.
I'm really
and then I
interested
wanna
actually.
do the best on
And it's quite
everything.
interesting that me and Dan are doing different things because I want to see where he can get to. He's
And
going to have
see where the power ends up at the end. If I do all this and end up with 4 horsepower more than you, it might not be worth it.
And for anyone watching this going, well, you're messing around with the intake, you should mess around with the exhaust. He's got a custom system from Braddock Ford Creations that is an X-pipe system without the back box in the arches. You know, the back boxes are normally here. They're around the back there. You know, a light exhaust system that gives really good flow. Dan's car produced, what, 286 before you blew it?
But at a lower RPM, yeah, it produced 286 at 5,800
That was your
RPM.
peak, was it?
At 5.8.
That's
Overfueling meant that I lost horsepower.
So you
afterwards.
didn't achieve peak?
Peak, well, I achieved it, but earlier than yours.
Because normally peak horsepower would be right at the top of the rev range.
So my car overfueled, and that was because we believe that the cone that I put directly, the short cone system I put on, was making the car put too much fuel in. It was overfueling.
Be interesting though, because
if I'd have sorted the fueling
But you
out,
might have had symptoms to me of a closed resonator flap.
possibly, but it was overfueling. So the answer was, if
But
you was to-
overfueling, you shouldn't kill your
if you
top
would've-
end. It should come into its own then.
Well, it can kill it off a bit. You could see it on the graph, to be honest. But the answer was, if you could sort the fueling out on that car we estimated would have been 303 to 308 horsepower. And bearing in mind, the only mod was the exhaust.
Yeah, so Dan might be able to, like, with all this, Dan could get lucky and he could be up in the 320s. He could even be higher than that with that exhaust system. It might be theoretically possible that the maximum power you can get out of this engine without cam upgrades might be around about 325. That might be theoretically possible, and that's based on James's one running 323 with ported intakes.
But that's the answer. The answer is do everything, maximise every opportunity and see where you end up. That's what we've got to do. That's what I'm going to do anyway. And then if you end up doing your more minor, more sensible mod, and you come out at 310 and I come out at 314,
if I get anywhere near 310, I'll be like party time, because that would be well impressive.
And bearing in mind, these figures that we're talking about, people, are from Surrey Rolling Road. We use Surrey Rolling Road because his rolling road is known as the Dream Crusher. If you get a high number there, you're really going to get a higher number most other places you go.
Another 10.
So when we hear about people doing hub horsepower testing and all that, or doing different rolling roads and going, oh yeah, my standard car, I haven't done no mods to it and it's already 310. Listen, I've taken 7, 8 cars down there and they're all between 270 and 280.
Look how disgusted he is at that.
Yeah. But the point is that
say
we're
300.
getting the figures from there. So I would challenge anyone that if I end up getting 320 and John gets 308, I would challenge you to bring your 330 horsepower print out, come on down to Surrey Rolling Road and let's watch your 330 turn into 313. Because it'll be on a rolling road that is really accurate, or if anything, a little bit on the mean side.
Yeah, well, that's what you want. Yeah, you want to know. So if I get to 305, like, I'll be happy. If I get north of 300 with my budget Force India upgrades, I'll be happy. Because I don't know of many 996s that are relatively stock like mine that would make over 300 brake.
And another important thing to make, and you can vouch for this, everybody says, why are you bothering? Like, if you take modern cars, for example, they come standard with 300 horsepower. You go to a tuning company, you download an app, and you've got 400 horsepower, and it's like massive gains because they're turbocharged and they're all modern and they're restricted so much. They don't understand, and they drive down the road in that car, and they need 100 horsepower difference to actually feel a difference. In these cars, because they're light, because they're so mechanical and analog, we both have felt with our foot and our feeling and our arse 7 horsepower.
Yeah.
You notice 7 horsepower. I've noticed when I changed my exhaust and I dropped 16 horsepower, it cost me 2 seconds a lap at Goodwood.
You're never sure, but whenever we've guessed, we've actually been right.
We've actually been right. So what I'm saying is we can
actually
call,
not always. Because there's been times where I was convinced it was fixed and it's like, no. Denied.
But we can call 10 horsepower. So if you get one of these cars and you say 285 horsepower and you get it up to 300, which is 15, which is still a reasonably good percentage on 280. You take 280, that's 28 horsepower to 10%. If you've got 14, you've got 5% more power.
Yes.
5% on one of these cars is night and day.
Good. And I'll tell you what though, 300-ish brake horsepower on a flat 6 engine, which is feels quite torquey to me, but it's the weight of the car. If you get the weight down to as close as you can to 1200 or even go beyond that, as Dan has, then sort of 300 to 310 at 1200 kilos
power to
is
weight.
Good. It's not good. We're not running these cars because they're ever going to be the fastest on the circuit. They're one of the slower cars on the circuits today.
If you look at most of these modern cars that everyone raves about how good they are, look at their weights, their curb weights, look at their power, you'll find that like a lot of them aren't much more than 250 brake per tonne.
Yeah.
The real quick stuff is 275 per tonne upwards. I mean, like seriously quick stuff's 300.
But you know what happens there? That's the way cars are going. Yeah. Heavier, wider tyres,
more horsepower,
bigger tyres, turbocharged engines, lots more kind of grunt. And when they're going around a circuit, they can go faster. But the problem is you destroy your tyres and brakes. Well, they don't make good track cars.
You take that new 5 Series M car that Spud had. Yeah. 650 horsepower, whatever it is, weighs over 2 tonne. Now divide that out.
Rick or the car?
No, the car. So a standard Carrera, a standard Porsche Carrera 911 996 is roughly, and depending on your spec, but roughly 211 horsepower per tonne, 210 horsepower.
That's no fun, is it?
Right, which is quite reasonable. That's right up there with a lot of. That's pretty good for a sports car of its age. You can map them up and all that. You know, you're talking well above Cosworths and all that. Yeah. If you then compare that to what I've done on my car already, where I haven't got any more horsepower, but I've done the weight, I'm at 242 per tonne. Yeah. GT cars, GT3s, 996 and 997 run between 265 and 275 per tonne. If I can get 325 horsepower out of that,
don't whack it too
get
hard.
my car under 1200 kilos, I'll have the same power to weight ratio as a GT car.
How heavy is this thing? 1200?
I think this is a bit more. They're weighed in roughly around 13.
That's heavier than
something.
My car. When you have a car
this is a bit lower.
That's light, it's more fun on track. You don't kill the tyres. You can do like 10 track days on the tyres. They shuffle around on the circuits and the corners.
And the brakes, it's better on brakes, better on cornering, everything.
It's just more fun as well. When you go for a drive in a light car with a naturally aspirated engine, it's good fun, like, because you're chasing the power with your foot. You got your foot planted.
If you think this car is lighter than DTC,
that's why I'll probably never ever buy a modern car, because they're just all too quick now, and you take it for a spin out on the road and you are backing off rather than giving it everything. You like to claw everything out the engine. You're backing off all the time because you're about to hit a corner. And
and you need bigger brakes and you need bigger wheels, everything to get round the thing.
It ruins the fun. But yeah, on circuit, sometimes you wish you did have a bit more power.
Well, this is what I said to you. When you go to Spa, you'll really feel the power loss.
Yeah.
So
everything on the straight was
my plan for now will make this a competitive car. It'll make it like you've got a GT3, pretty much, give or take. It'll be like having a GT3. But I would like to think that, and I will prove this one day, I would like to think driver to driver, match to match, my end result from this next stage versus a GT3 on the same track with the same driver my car will be
Because
faster.
you've got an advantage with weight with what you've done.
And that's what I think.
You can go hardcore. You can go more hardcore than the GT3.
Yeah, the
Because the GT3 is still beautiful.
No, it's not that. I'm talking about someone that don't mind putting a lap time in. It's got to be the same driver.
But what I mean is, when Porsche designed the GT3,
Yeah.
they didn't go complete rice.
No, the Gen 2...
He's gone complete rice.
The Gen 2 went a little bit more crazy, but I would like to get to the point where I can get my car around Goodwood in sub 90 seconds. And I would think that most, even fairly good drivers, won't be able to beat it. They might be able to get close to it or match it, but not
Modern cars will
beat
get around
it.
there in
Modern
125.
cars, yeah, but we're talking about M3s and your M4 CS, way more horsepower. And I'm saying this because I think once the power to weight is the same, I then think the weight is more of an advantage than the power.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is 325, 330 horsepower, 1190 kilos versus 375 horsepower, 1380 kilos.
The lowest weight that's really achievable on these C2 3.4s.
About 1100 kilos.
You
But
reckon?
then you're talking no roll cage or nothing.
Really? 1100. So you'd
So
have to
I
go
think-
plexiglass, carbon fibre doors,
So I
carbon
think you
fibre
could.
wings.
I think you could get under 1100. There's a
Carbon fibre rear
guy. There's a
panels.
guy who got to 1090. So 1090.
Did he have carbon fibre doors?
He had carbon fibre doors. He even changed the front windscreen for one that was 2 mil thinner. But he had no roll cage, and it wasn't really a race car. He just did it as a lightweight car.
You'd have to go from steel panels to like
Carbon,
Yeah.
Fiberglass. He had fiberglass doors, fiberglass, carbon. So basically, my car now is 1220. My new modifications I'm doing are dropping another 30 off of it, so it'll be 1190 roughly. To get any lighter, I would need to do doors.
So Dan, tell me your horsepower target. What will you be happy with?
A 320. I want
320,
320
you
for
heard
all
it
this
here.
work.
He wants 320.
So, because I think that you will get to 310.
I don't
or
think
close.
I will. No.
I think you'll be between, only from what I've learnt from just doing the exhaust on mine, I think you're going to be somewhere between 305 and 310.
Mate, if I'm over 300, I'm done. I'm done.
I would be disappointed.
310 would be awesome.
I would be disappointed if I'm not more than 10 more than yours.
Yeah. But then what we've got to really come out, once we've got this intake thing done, we've got to get back into that AccuSump mode with
Yes,
Steve.
to protect the
'Cause we'll
engines,
end up
stop them blowing them up. And the other thing is, everyone's like, why would you do all this work? The reason why I would do all this work is because all of this work is keepable for life. When this engine goes bang, rattle, tattle, tattle, she will become a 3.9 or a 4 litre. It'll have the same air intake bolted in it that I've already invested the time and money on. The same exhaust, because all the information's done.
Yeah, the only thing you've said to me today that I thought that's silly is playing around with the injectors on that 3.4. I wouldn't touch those.
I think I need to, because I've got a feeling that will be my next hurdle.
But it's not under fueling. You need Steve to have a look at yours on the rolling road and look at the fueling and say if you could increase fuel,
I'll
if
tell you
it's going to
another
be
thing,
any
John.
benefit.
I need new injectors like yours and 4 new injectors. Why would you go and buy 4 new the same when you can go and buy 4 new of something else?
Well, you buy the correct specification injectors for that engine.
Yeah, so you buy the, but you're already...
Because you're not searching, you haven't modified that in the internals of that engine.
I haven't modified the CC,
Yeah.
but what else
All
is
the
different?
internals, you've got stock cams. There's no reason that you would need to increase fueling.
Why not? I'm
Because you think
increasing
Porsche,
air.
there'll be the thing is there'll be the ability where if you map these to increase fueling, or is it just air to fuel ratio you're messing with? I don't know, but I would imagine
all the guys with the bigger engines are struggling on fueling, but then they've increased the CC. I'm not increasing the CC, but they struggle. So Mark Lime's car, the green car, struggled on fueling.
he had a fuel pump.
So he ended up putting turbo injectors in.
Oh, did he?
And fuel pump, yeah. Nigel's car struggled on
So
fueling.
you speak to those guys.
Nigel's car couldn't get any more power. It
So
got to a
it'd be
point
worth
and
speaking,
stopped.
once you think you've got everything on paper, what you're going to do, it'd be worth speaking to a race team that have messed around with these.
Well, that's the problem, John. Race teams don't mess around with these. They use Mexico engines. They don't mess around with these
No, they do.
flat stuff.
They race these. I sent you a link to a race car that was a 3.4 C2 making 315 brake horsepower with a stock engine, modified intake and a race ECU. That's it.
And AC delete.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but so that and an exhaust. So they're making 315 without major things, and we're doing it slightly a different method. But so 315 might well be possible, because a race ECU can't be any different to a fully optimized, customized map for your setup.
No, that's just something they've bought as a program and plugged it in, rather than going to someone to custom map you. An ECU's an ECU. It's just the parameters of what it'll let you do. If you find the right person that understands the ECU, like Wayne Wizard, he's mapped cars we already know from, bearing in mind Nigel's car, it's a standard ECU, was come out of a standard 3.4 car.
Bosch that's, thing, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Bosch
Now his car runs 356 horsepower. So there you go. That guy's mapped his car from 280 horsepower to 350, but only because Nigel gave him the engine that was worthy of it. And that's the difference. You've got to give these guys an engine that's worthy of mapping to the max.
Working, you can't. That's what I. That's why I didn't want to go down there with my engine. Go all the way up there, and then you get there, and your engine's not working properly. And you've got
that's the first
faults.
port of call, isn't it? You make sure your engine's producing the right power to start with. Otherwise, you do all of this, and a resonator flap's closed, and you're wasting your time.
You are. Why is my car not pulling properly?
And then it's not the mapper's fault or any of your mods. It's the fault with your car in the first place. So we're pretty confident. Listen, we don't know this engine, but we're pretty confident it runs well.
We've seen it. We've split one, taken two out and split one down.
The Durametrics were good. It certainly, we know it's rebuilt. It looks like it's rebuilt to a good standard.
I want to know how to break this block down and, like, you know, then do the bearings and put it all back together. It's like, it's just so complicated though. If you look at it, you might be able to sort of get your head around it. When you start stripping bits off it, everything's got all these bits in it and bolts.
Oh, it's really messy, isn't it?
Yeah, and how you clean it all out on the inside, and like how you prepare it all.
I think most of that is not doing it in a mess like this. You need to do it in a really
need space, mate. You need worktop.
I've got to sit down, John. My leg's gone.
But anyway, guys, so you know Dan, he can chat for hours, never mind me. So the main cool thing is people are going to be getting mad that you put that on your car.
I know. It's a race car.
It is now. You just lost a bit of weight of paint there. I'm really excited though, guys, to look at this. I've been waiting for this to arrive for a long time because I want to look at this. Yeah, I really want to look at this.
I'm kind of like really excited on your journey because I want to see, like,
that looks like the same spring part.
Yours is like
they've welded that on.
John, yours is like the stage 1 and mine's going to be the stage 2. So I'm really excited to see what we get from yours doing a stage 1. And then doing a stage 2 with mine and going whole hog full.
So they got rid of the brake
Dan's
booster.
Timeless race cars.
They've capped the brake booster off as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. We need to find out why on all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's reasons.
Yeah.
Reasons, John. We need to know why.
The bloke you bought it off would probably know, wouldn't he?
Yeah, they're race car teams. Might be able to tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, imagine being able to make something like that. How is that machined then from a lump? Is this machined? Stupid question. So you start off with a block and it's machined. Because this isn't forged. Oh, it's cast, is it?
Yeah,
that's why it's got that rough texture.
Yeah, it's not forged. If it's forged, it would be CNC machined.
Okay. Right, we'll end that video there, guys. So exciting upgradings. 45 minutes nearly of talking. Whoever's, put in the comments if you're still here to the end. Because if you're here to the end, that means you love all this stuff. And it's...
You are crazy.
Yeah.
You're as mad as us.
Well, steady on, Dan.
If you're here to the end, you might be as mad as John.
No one's definitely not that mad. Anyway, I know I love all this. It gets me excited thinking about all this stuff because it's power. Anyway, I'll end the video here, guys. Take care. See you soon. Subscribe. Do